Hello, everyone, and welcome. If you work in procurement, you've undoubtedly been told to do more with less this year. We hear it constantly. The spend portfolio grows, the compliance rules get stricter, but our headcount, it stays exactly the same. It's exhausting. Today, I want to show you how we are breaking that cycle at Etsy. My name is Guru Sathya, and I'll be talking to you about how to leverage AI to manage a source to pay function with a small team. A quick introduction about myself. I manage global procurement operations, AP operations, supplier operations, and T&E for Etsy. Collectively, we call all of these teams in Etsy as finance operations. Before we dive in, I want to sincerely apologize that I cannot be there with you in person today. I was scheduled to fly out over the weekend, but due to the ongoing situation in airspace closures in Middle East, my flights were grounded, and I'm currently recording this from here in India. However, I know there was a lot of interest in this session, and I absolutely did not want to miss the chance to share our story with you. I'm hoping I can still do this topic justice in a video and that you all walk away with some practical, valuable insights today. So let's get into it. Today, we are going to talk about a challenge that keeps almost every procurement leader up at night: how to truly do more with less. Specifically, I'm going to walk you through how we leverage automation and artificial intelligence to manage our source to pay processes. But to really understand our procurement strategy, it helps to understand the unique businesses we support. So let's start with a quick look at what Etsy is and what we do. Etsy is a unique two sided e commerce platform. We offer unique, custom, handmade, non commoditized merchandise to people all over the world. At Etsy, our mission is to keep commerce human. To really understand the why behind our procurement strategy, we first have to understand the heart of our business. At Etsy, our guiding mission is simple but powerful. That is to keep commerce human. We operate a unique two sided e commerce platform, but unlike giant retailers that push mass produced goods and drop ship products, our focus is entirely on the special stuff. We offer unique, custom, handmade, and non commoditized merchandise to buyers all over the world. We aren't just moving boxes, we are connecting real people with other people through their creativity. But here's what makes our ecosystem truly special. When you think of a typical supplier on a massive e commerce platform, you might picture huge warehouses, massive corporations. That is not who our sellers are. In fact, 80% of our sellers are businesses of one people. So 97% operate straight out of their own homes, and 80% of our sellers identify as women. For a lot of these creative entrepreneurs, Etsy isn't just a side project, it is their primary source of income. So, why does this matter for procurement? We are a corporate function, we are an in-house supporting function, but because we support this unique global community, supporting this unique global community requires our internal Etsy employees to move fast and think differently. And to support them, our procurement team has to be incredibly agile. We cannot afford to be a slow bureaucratic bottleneck, which requires documentation for everything. Everything has to be approved in triplicate. We can't operate that way. We have to be deeply supportive and flexible so we can empower the employees who are out there driving our mission forward every single day. Now, let's look at the reality of the procurement engine that powers this massive marketplace. We currently manage a spend portfolio of about $1.5 billion dollars a year. Technically speaking, all of this is what you would traditionally call indirect spend. But because Etsy doesn't manufacture physical goods ourselves, this spend is what keeps our platform, our infrastructure, and our services up and running. So, in a very real way, our indirect spend is absolutely mission critical. And that creates a very unique challenges for us. We have all the messy characteristics of an indirect portfolio. It's highly fragmented. It's a huge mix of very small and very large purchases. And almost everything is incredibly time sensitive. But we face strict expectations usually reserved for direct procurement in a way that we are expected to drive deep strategic relationships with our vendors, deliver year over year cost savings, and rigorously manage risk. And all of this is very challenging. And you would think You might expect a small army to manage that kind of volume and complexity. But we do it with a remarkably lean team of fewer than 20 people. We have just five sourcing managers, five procurement buyers, six AP analysts, one supplier manager, and one T&E admin, and one yours truly. So, with all of this and such a lean team, we have some of the best in class metrics, such as 98% contract compliance, 95% on time payments, less than 6% after the fact POs, less than 12 days for a contract to be created and turned around, and less than 3 weeks for supplier onboarding. And that includes financial review, infrastructure review, and all the other reviews. So the billion-dollar question is, how exactly does a team this small manage $1.5 billion in complex spend without completely burning out? Well, the answer comes down to three core pillars. We prioritize relationship management. We thrive on relationship management and human connection. We uh, we aim to build intelligent automation and flexible but highly consistent policy enforcement. Let's learn a little bit more about this. Before we jump into the specific AI tools we use, I want to briefly explain the philosophy that makes it all work, how our team keeps procurement human. In our businesses, and probably same in yours, 80% or more of the spend is concentrated among a handful of power users and key decision makers. We ruthlessly prioritize those human relationships. A lot of people fear that AI removes the human element. For us, AI is the exact opposite. It is the ultimate enabler. We use AI to automate our heavy internal facing manual tasks such as data analytics, market research, building business cases, generating presentations, and routing standard approvals and reviews. By letting AI do the heavy lifting there, it buys us back the time and bandwidth to actually enrich and grow those critical stakeholder relationships. Simply put, if a task takes us away from face time with a stakeholder or a supplier, we aim to use AI to cut that time down. We use a mix of high touch relationship management and consistent policy enforcement to earn our seat at the table. And when we sit at that table, AI empowers us to bring actionable intelligence, reasonably trustworthy data, and clear visuals that drive impactful conversations. We have a strong enforcement of policy and the businesses need to involve us in their spend. This is not only because of our enforcement, but also because we are good partners. For example, we give these power users a dedicated single point of contact for everything source to pay related. They never have to bounce around five different procurement teams to get a solution. If they need a contract signed quickly, or a buyer, a contract needs quickly, or invoice need to be paid quickly, our buyer team brings in all the relevant parties, such as legal, sourcing, compliance teams together and own the resolution until it's done. This is all driven by our company culture of empathy, efficiency, and a shared mission. But not everybody are power users. What about the rest of the company? For our non power users, the folks who only buy things infrequently, we focus on building highly intuitive self service systems where questions are automatically triaged to the right place and to the right team. And here's the catch: building the intelligence system for infrequent users actually require a very robust technical stack and an AI layer, because their questions are unpredictable and often require integrating multiple backend systems at once to find the right answer. This is where the noise lies, and this is where the non-compliance can creep in. This is what we aim to manage by intelligent automation and guardrails. So with that foundation in mind, let's finally talk about how we actually implement AI and what is our three-layered approach. Right now, AI is the biggest buzzword in the industry. Every tool out there claims to have their own version of it. And honestly, it can be incredibly confusing to figure out where to actually implement them and how to even use them. We believe the future of procurement tech stack isn't just one magic tool. It is a three-layered strategy. We use this three-layer framework to evaluate every single AI tool that crosses our desk so we can prioritize them effectively. Our first layer is the generic AI. Like most of you, in your companies would already have a generic AI layer like Gemini or ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot, etc. So these are tools like Gemini and OpenAI. To be clear, we use enterprise grade versions safely within our firewall, so none of our data is used for external training. So we are not just typing up Google Gemini and then sharing company data. So these are all vetted, Etsy specific tools in Etsy's firewall. So in this layer, AI, I mean, the first layer is defined by AI tools that doesn't integrate with our backend systems. Instead, it acts as a powerful everyday assistant. We use it to draft business cases, build presentation decks, and conduct market research. For instance, we upload our old sourcing templates into Notebook LM and use that to instantly generate new customized sourcing documents. We use this tool to extensively in our day-to-day jobs, and every user is trained to use these tools, build effective prompts, and share prompts. We are building a prompt library for commonly used tasks. We also use the gems feature in the Gemini. So we build Gemini gems, which help do brainstorming and time intensive tasks such as scenario testing, comparing multiple supplier responses, helpful scoring, etc. So this is very pervasive in how we work day to day. And pretty much every task that we can think of, we can start or we can use this generic layer somewhere or the other. And because it's a general purpose tool, the exact ROI can be hard to measure, but the wide applicability and the time saved across the team is undeniable. Now, let's move on to the next layer, which is the point solutions. So these are highly specialized tools that perform certain tasks and workflows very, very well, but require system integration and uses our company data. Examples in this layer are Certa and Glean in our ecosystem. And unlike layer one, these do require system integration. And this is where we automate specific workflows. For example, we use Glean to automate our T&E help desk. The AI bot of Glean actually interprets our T&E policies, answers complex questions, learns from our past responses, and even auto approves low risk exceptions like if somebody is asking for a slight increase in their daily allowance, or if they need to rebook a flight because there's an emergency. All of those things, our Glean bot can auto approve those requests. We also use Certa for our AI-enabled third-party risk management. So in our supplier onboarding, Certa's AI actually assesses the vendor risk using databases like DNB and Dow Jones and automatically routes for approval. It can collate multiple pages of documents and multiple pages of information and summarize that into a comprehensive risk rating. And based on the risk rating and the risk framework that we have configured, it can automatically route for specific team for approvals or trigger additional workflows that is required to assess that risk and approve those risks. Another example is we use Looker Studio to conversationally query our spend database to get quick data, such as show me all influencer contracts from my marketing cost centers, or show me requesters for after the fact POs this month. So these tools provide incredible speed. In fact, for the processes where we have implemented point solutions, we have saved more than 70% of our team's bandwidth. And generally, we have saved about 10% of our team resourcing. We have repurposed two of our resources for high value strategic work just by implementing the first and the second layer so far in less than a year. Finally, the third layer is end-to-end AI orchestration. This is the connective tissue. This is where everything is brought together, and this is still a work in progress at Etsy, but it is the foundational future of our S2P infrastructure. We imagine this layer as a central brain that brings all other bots, agents, and workflows together. Right now, we are building this orchestration layer for T&E. We are partnered with a solution that connects our ERP, the travel booking system, emails, calendar, P2P system, and our virtual card platform all into one place. It'll aim to eliminate expense report submissions altogether as much as possible. Instead, it'll auto approve expenses based on location, context, history, policy, org level, etc. Meaning our T&E admin only manages exception that the AI flags. It'll also provide aggregate view of our non-compliance areas and use cases so we can actually modify our processes to address those areas. This frees up our single admin's time from looking at every expense report and reminding people to submit their expense reports or address inquiries at an expense report level. But it now enables this person to look at it at a holistic level and manage this as a program versus an individual case by case basis. We are in the process of building a similar central brain for our source to pay. We plan to have the best in class tools for various S2P processes such as e-sourcing, supplier management, CLM, AP, etc. So in the future, we plan to move away from one single central do it all procurement platform to best in class tools which does their specific areas really, really well. And we would want the central AI orchestration solution to integrate with all these best in class layers. This orchestration layer will call upon the workflows and AI bots of other tools and seamlessly create tasks in other systems. We also hope this AI layer provides end-to-end visibility of the entire process and provides a seamless experience. Today's AI technology can do this, but there is no single tool which sells this as a product. We are trying to be creative and use supplier partnerships to create this ecosystem for us. This is where human relationship with suppliers help. We partner with these startups and new technology innovators to co-design, test, and be the guinea pigs for these new products. This helps the supplier with good product feedback and also helps us with a highly customized product made specially for us. So by layering our technology and thinking about it this way, we achieved our ultimate goal, which is management by exception. The AI handles the high volume routine, and our human experts step in only for critical and complex relationships. As an example of a few of the point solutions, the second layer solutions that we have, so we have quite a few, but these six kind of stand out because of how impactful these are. So we have several AI initiatives in the second layer that are already up and running, saving our teams hours of manual work every single week. Some of the concrete examples are we are using Gemini to intercept all the emails in our invoices mailbox. So it intercepts and extracts all the emails that hits our AP mailbox. It classifies the emails as spam, follow-up, status query, actual invoice, etc. And the ones that it classifies as an actual invoice, it extracts the information, puts it in a standard format, and feeds it into our AP system and posts it. So our AP analysts will never have to do this manually. All they have to do is they have a workflow now, which is created by the AI. They'll have to go into the system, look at what AI has populated, and click approve or dispute the invoice. So instead of having an analyst manually key in data, Gemini pulls the crucial information instantly and accurately. For our broad employee base, we have deployed Lean as our T&E help channel bot. As I explained before, it acts as a 24/7 assistant, answering those repetitive travel and expense questions. So our single T&E admin doesn't get overwhelmed, and we still provide 24/7 coverage for our employees. Ever since we've implemented this bot, AI answers more than 70% of the question without needing for additional follow-up from any human. That's a massive time saver and efficiency gain for our T&E team. And on the compliance side, we are leveraging CERTA for AI-assisted third-party risk management. As I said previously, we used to get about 80 risk assessments a week, which individually required tens of pages of documents each one, and then it was incredibly complex to read and understand and assess those risks because supplier management team or that single person is not an expert in all the different nuances of risk, and we ended up involving compliance team and infosec team for pretty much everything that we were not sure of. Now this AI reviews all those risks for us, reads it and summarizes it in such a nice, easy to understand format. It rates the risk based on our criterias, and we are now a lot more confident in those AI's assessments. So we only involve, or AI automatically involves the right people, and we just override it if it's necessary, if we feel like it. Um, and so these are practical everyday ways that we are using technology to protect our team's bandwidth. Now, having the right technology is only half the battle. Let's be honest, like about the biggest challenge in realizing this full vision, it's knowledge and resourcing. And AI ready resources don't exist in the market yet. I'm sure in the future, everybody will have AI tag in their resume. But for now, we have to build those knowledge and resources internally. So we are essentially asking our team to shift their entire operational mindset. We need our people to start thinking AI first. We are asking them to make a massive leap, transitioning from managing the manual processes themselves to managing the bots that run the processes. And because we are a lean team, we can't just go out and hire a completely new workforce to do this. We have to build these skills in house. And that's why our approach to implementing AI is very deliberate and slow. Um, we don't expect everyone to be an expert on day one. Our strategy is simple: crawl, walk, and run. First, we crawl. The crawl phase is all about learning, experimenting in safe environments, and building a baseline of AI literacy across the entire team. Once we have that comfort level, we walk. This is where we start automating specific tasks and embedding AI into our repeatable, everyday workflows, like those point solutions we talked about. And finally, we run. This is the ultimate destination, transforming our operations by infusing AI directly into our core systems to give us real time insights and true end to end orchestration. It's a journey, but building that in house capability step by step is exactly how we plan to get there. So, how do we actually execute the crawl, walk, run strategy and build these skills in house? We created an internal finance innovation group that covers all of our key teams. Like, we fundamentally believe that the technology is only as good as the people guiding it. And to show how serious we are about bridging this talent gap, this group isn't just a side project. It's directly sponsored by our CFO and his leadership team. In fact, participation is highly and actively encouraged and rewarded during our performance management cycles. So, if somebody has participated and they've shown performance in AI, that is one of their actual KPIs that is rewarded through ratings, salary increases, and promotions. Here's how the group actually operates. So we have a central program lead. It is run by a fantastic internal leader from our finance systems team. And across the department, we have multiple AI champions. So we've identified these key, highly motivated individuals who work with their respective teams to brainstorm and submit real world use cases for their respective teams. The program lead takes those ideas and prioritizes them. For complex, high impact, highly technical projects, we allocate dedicated technical resources from our internal engineering team or hiring external consultants to build these complex projects out. But here's my favorite part. For the smaller, lower impact projects, we actually encourage the teams to build and test the solutions themselves. So, this hands on experimentation is exactly how we build the practical AI experience we need for larger projects down the road. And of course, we don't do this recklessly because I'll get in trouble. We work in lockstep with our audit and risk teams from day one, ensuring that no matter what we build, we are never compromising Etsy's data or exposing the company to risks. So we never start working on it until our audit and compliance teams have actually reviewed it, and there are regular cadence of meetings and sign-offs to make sure that these projects are actually reviewed and approved before any work actually happens. Now, because we are operating with such a lean team, we simply don't have the luxury of chasing every shiny new AI tool that hits the market. We have to be incredibly ruthless about what we actually choose to build and deploy. To do that, we use a very strict prioritization framework. Every single AI initiative has to pass three tests. First, it must have a measurable ROI. We are looking for hard cost savings or actual FTE hours returned to the team. If it doesn't have cost savings or we can't measure the actual FTE hours, it is deprioritized or it goes back to the drawing board. Second, it needs technical readiness, meaning the underlying data is actually accessible, reasonably clean, and completely secure. Now, I understand this is where most companies trip up because the data is not easily accessible, or it is not clean, or you can't trust it. So we have multiple projects to actually get to technical readiness itself before we actually do the full implementation. So we are trying to build a data lake currently, which extracts data from our ERP and our Coupa and P2P systems and everything else. And we are actually using AI to actually get the data in a reasonably clean and trustable format. So maybe building technical readiness itself might be an AI project to begin with, but once it's there, any other AI project that builds on it needs to be technically ready. And third, it has to be a strategic fit that solves a top tier pain point, and it should be able to scale easily. So it's not only necessary that it solves one business unit's problem, but if we can't scale that to multiple business units, it'll get deprioritized at the moment, and maybe we'll pick it up later when we have more bandwidth and more AI resources. Now, there's an interesting reality we've discussed when applying this framework. It is very easy to measure AI's effectiveness in our transactional processes because AI is so good at automating these repetitive steps, but it is so much more harder to measure its ROI in strategic sourcing because those processes are fundamentally driven by human relationships and nuanced negotiations and supplier relationships, etc. But honestly, that is exactly what we want. This isn't a flaw in the system, it is the entire goal. We want to use the AI to completely absorb the transactional noise in our processes. By automating the measurable, repetitive work, we elevate our team, giving them the freedom to be profoundly relationship focused and drive our highest level strategic goals. So, in a way, by focusing first on the transactional and measuring the ROI by time saved and actually FT hours, we actually give those hours and time back to our strategic initiatives. Now, I don't want to stand here and pretend that this journey is perfectly smooth. It's easy. We got it all figured out. Well, I'd be lying 100%. Integrating AI is hard work, and we face some very real adoption hurdles every day. We essentially battle three main challenges, right? The first is the literacy gap. There's so much hype around AI. We have to help our team fundamentally understand what the technology can actually do, and just as importantly, what it cannot do. Second, we face the time and design constraints. There's a deep irony here. Our team is incredibly lean, which means they already have limited bandwidth to sit down and learn the very tools that are designed to save them time. So it's kind of like a catch 22 situation. Like they need to stop their regular work to learn this tool to stop them from doing their regular work. Um, and lastly, there is the issue of trust and relevance. There's a very healthy, natural skepticism about whether AI bot can truly handle the core complex financial tasks and procurement tasks accurately. Now, but here's how we look at it. Our immediate focus is mostly on closing that literacy gap. We believe that as we build our team's fundamental understanding of AI, they will become faster at designing solutions, which naturally reduces our time constraints. And as the tools themselves get better, alongside our team's understanding, that trust and relevance will naturally follow. As you can see, I'm very cautiously optimistic about all of this. I think that is required in the current situation anyway. So, how are we actually closing the literacy gap I just mentioned? We tackled it head on by launching what we call AI Fluency Initiative. We set a massive critical goal for ourselves this year. We want to achieve 80% active participation across all our finance teams, including procurement teams. We want to ensure our people are equipped with future ready skills, and we know that everyone learns a little differently. So we are offering a mix of on demand training modules and live interactive workshop. For example, we had people come in from Google and OpenAI and Glean and have finance-wide, procurement-wide seminars about how to use those tools, and what are other companies using in within those tools, etc. We have hosted multiple peer-to-peer networking sessions. Like we have actually met other companies who are in a similar path as ours and understood how their procurement teams are using the same tools that we have. We have had training sessions by the AI consulting companies and also PwCs and Deloitte's and learning how these consulting companies are using AI and how they can help in finance functions, etc. But my personal favorite part of this initiative is how we have gamified the learning processes. We regularly host what we call promptathon challenges. We actually have teams compete against each other to solve real world everyday business problems using AI tools, cool prompts. Any offsite meeting or training we usually have an AI session, which where we identify a problem area and then we try to build solutions, or at least design a solution in how those could work. It takes something that can feel very technical and intimidating, like learning to write complex AI prompts, and turns it into something that is incredibly collaborative, hands-on, and honestly, it's just a lot of fun. And and that brings us to the end. I want to sincerely thank you all for taking the time to listen today. I want to leave you with this. Integrating AI into procurement is a massive journey. And honestly, just like so many of you, We are still figuring this out as we go. They say necessity is the mother of invention, and that couldn't be more true for us. Having such a lean team has completely forced us to be creative, to be agile, and to ruthlessly prioritize what actually matters. There are certainly massive corporations out there with much larger AI budgets and grander implementations. We hope to get there someday, but we are going to do it in our own unique way, keeping the human element at the absolute center of our process. I really hope this look inside our strategy sparks some ideas that you can take back home to your teams. I wish I could be there to see the reaction in the room, but since I'm recording this from a few thousand miles away, I'm just going to go ahead and assume that you're all still awake and giving me a standing ovation right now. Thank you again. Enjoy the rest of the conference, and please feel free to reach out if you would like to connect.